How is it going, my heroes, my villains, and everybody in between? Sean Ross here, and welcome back, guys, to another live reaction to My Hero Academia. We are on manga chapter number 305, entitled Izuku Midoriya and Tomura Shigaraki.
Tomura Shigaraki. I don't understand you. I don't agree with anything you do. But I can understand him. At least sort of. It's because I could have turned out just like him.
Are you alright? Are you hurt?
So much like how we made a connection between Deku and All Might in last week's chapter, we are most likely doing the exact same thing, but this time between Deku and Shigaraki. And that makes sense coming off the ending of last week's chapter, where we had Nana Shimura asking Deku the very big question on whether or not he can kill Tomura Shigaraki.
Kill him. Kill him now.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Now, I don't know if she's 100% serious with this question or just trying to test Deku, but the fact that she asked it makes it a very, very big deal. So going into this chapter, I am very curious to see what Deku's response is going to be to this question, and whether or not his answer will satisfy not only the other past users, but satisfy Nana herself. So, mount ladies and gentle criminals, without further ado, let's dive right in to chapter 305. All right, here we go. Picking up right where last chapter left off, and we are continuing with Nana's question to Deku.
Take two.
Beat him within an inch of his life.
And hang him a poison trail!
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait, first of all, you're not gonna speed past that like you didn't just say what you just said.
Tell me, can you kill Tomura Shigaraki?
What?
And it looks like Deku does not have an answer just yet. We just see Deku saying, in response to Nana, as she proceeds to get up out of her chair. That's not a request. I'm asking about your resolve. You looked at him and saw someone who looked like he needed saving. That's what you thought. That is exactly what Deku was thinking. Back when All For One Shigaraki was trying to escape, Deku looked on and thought in his mind Shigaraki looked like he needed saving. And it looks like the past users picked up on that feeling within Deku. We know that much because we're in sync with your emotions. And now we see Banjo chiming in saying, the issue is, he sure didn't look that way to us. No doubt he's suffering, what with All For One taking over his meat suit. But that don't mean the kid is hoping to be saved. Even in a sitch like that, his eyes were filled with nothing but hate. Yeah, when Shigaraki entered the vestige world, all they saw staring back at them was hate-filled eyes.
The only thing I could see in his eyes was an insatiable anger aimed at the entire world.
The hate is swelling in you now.
And now we see the first user chiming in, talking as he's staring at his hands. That's how he was groomed. My brother's own damaged body now holds him back, so it's likely that he schemed to hijack the boy's body and soul as part of a grand plan to acquire One For All. Ooh, and now we see Banjo pointing over to the sixth user. First me, and then my successor, N. That bastard tried stealing One For All from us twice, and failed twice. Okay, now we actually have the name of the sixth user. His name is N, and now we actually know that All For One tried in the past to steal One For All from Banjo and N twice, and failed in both attempts.
Good. Twice the pride, double the fall.
Bending and breaking the basic principle of One For All takes a powerful will and emotion strong enough to override One For All. Emotions so strong, they're too much for one person to bear. We're thinking he's trying to use Shigaraki's hatred to get the job done.
Know my power.
Oh, and now Deku is thinking back to the vestige battle between him and Shigaraki, when Shigaraki's hatred manifested as decay as it spread to try to take control of One For All's will.
Use your aggressive feelings, boy. Let the
rule is that only the will of One For All's wielder can affect it. But your rage is starting to eat away at that very rule. Because the origin of One For All was itself a powerful will that refused to submit to All For One. Exactly. It goes all the way back to the younger brother, the first user of One For All. Because All For One did everything in his power trying to break his brother down to make him submit. And even went as far as to bestow a quirk upon his quirkless younger brother. But by doing that, he ended up creating the one thing, the one quirk that would never submit to his will.
And then, All For One transferred a quirk to his sibling, one that would allow him to stockpile power. We don't know if it was a gift he was giving his brother, or if he just wanted to force him to submit.
Now that is irony!
And through that irony, the iron will of the first user was passed down through One For All and has been inherited by each successor of the quirk.
Look at this dude.
And as we see the first user about to continue the conversation, we can see the second user behind him just ignoring the conversation going on behind him as he's continuing to stare at the wall in front of him. The basic premise is that One For All is tasked with destroying All For One. It seemed that Yagi accomplished this, but my tenacious brother managed to rise again. And now we go back over to Nana talking with Deku. Izuku, I know telling you this is incredibly unfair to you, especially after all the talk about how you can't walk away from this. Tomura Shigaraki is my grandson. To better fight All For One, I removed myself from my son's life, and Tomura was the end result. It's beyond shameful. For an adult who's failed over and over to burden a boy of 16 with her old debts, I know that. But all the same,
Behold.
if that thing grows into the ultimate evil, then nobody will be able to stop it.
Concerned, she put her child in foster care to shield the youngster from the hero world.
You didn't do anything wrong. Don't worry. I am here for you.
She's my master's grandchild. My God, what would she say if she knew how we turned out?
I'm preparing for him to become the next me, my successor.
Someday, you will fight against that ultimate evil. Perhaps. Yo, these two panel shots right here are great callbacks to past chapters. I love seeing Shigaraki with the butterfly wings, which goes back to when he was going under the procedure with Dr. Ujiko, and they were talking about his metamorphosis, his evolution into the ultimate personification of evil, and then that piece of dialogue going back to All Might and Deku's conversation when All Might explained the origins of One For All, as well as All For One.
The entire purpose of One For All is to defeat All For One. As its holder, you may one day have to fight against this great evil yourself. Because I failed.
But they are placing a lot on Deku's shoulders right here, and Nana is realizing that. She knows that she's placing all of her burdens and her mistakes on Deku's shoulders right now, and is telling him, I know that Shigaraki is my grandson, but you have to stop him, because if he continues down this path and metamorphosize into the ultimate evil, then nothing will be able to stop him, not even One For All. It won't be enough to simply forgive him or try to come to an understanding. There are some people in this world who cannot be saved.
Some men aren't looking for anything logical, like money. They can't be bought, bullied, reasoned, or negotiated with. Some men just want to watch the world burn.
Ooh, and now we see Nana getting up close with Deku and placing her hands on his shoulders. If a person who looks like they need saving actually turns out to be someone beyond saving, will you have the resolve to kill him if that's what it takes? Yo, and we have Nana getting close and asking that question again, placing her hands on Deku and basically shaking him to his core, shaking him to his ideals with this question, asking him, if Shigaraki is beyond saving, Do you have the resolve to abandon your ideals and take him out? Because we know Deku. He tries to save everybody any which way that he can. But is Shigaraki beyond saving at this point, even for Deku? And as this question is asked, silence comes over everyone as we see most of the past users looking on at Deku, waiting for his response. Look. But we can see the second and third user just continuing to stare at the wall. And Deku responds, I could see he was hurting, or rather, I could feel it. When Shigaraki's consciousness invaded One for All, when he was focusing so hard on his own dream, I felt it inside all that rage. I felt a little boy crying. Yo!
You will find that if you look for the light, you can often find it. But if you look for the dark, that is all you will ever see.
So that's what Deku felt when he was thinking Shigaraki felt like he needed saving. He looked deep into Shigaraki's core. Behind the rage within Shigaraki's eyes, this is what he saw. Young Tenko Shimura crying, holding onto his dog, and this was the moment right before his quirk manifested. Deku can sense that scared, terrified child of Tenko Shimura within Shigaraki, and it's because of that he wants to try to save Shigaraki, to save the little boy crying inside of Shigaraki. And Nana, hearing this, looks like she's on the verge of tears, pulls her hands away from Deku. Up till now, I've come up against all types.
Fight me.
And Deku is thinking back on all the villains he went up against. Stain, Muscular, and Overhaul. They've refused to back down, so fighting was the only way to stop them. But I never understood what made them turn out that way. If I had, maybe things would have worked out differently. Yo, and he's even thinking back to his fight with Gentle and La Brava.
What's the difference? I don't understand you. Your goals and your villains. I don't agree with anything you do. But, gentle criminal. I think I figured out why I had a tough time facing him. It wasn't just his strength. It's because I could have turned out just like him. Gentle and I have a lot of the same thoughts and feelings. You were my toughest opponent. Because you were someone I can understand.
I like that. That was the fight when Deku actually began to understand the villain, the antagonist he was fighting against. Because he could understand where Gentle was coming from, and Deku kind of saw a little bit of himself within Gentle. So Deku's kind of asking that question and has kind of had that in his mind ever since fighting Gentle. Maybe if I actually came to understand the villains I fought, maybe I can actually see where they were coming from. And we see Deku clench his fist tight. Or, who knows, maybe I still would have had to fight them anyway.
Hello there.
Are you okay?
Yo, double page spread right here. And we could see a young Deku standing in front of the young Tenko Shimura in the white void.
No one's come to save you, have they? You've had a hard life, Tenko Shimura. You didn't do anything wrong. Don't worry, I am here for you.
Disappear!
If you have to save someone, that means they've probably gone through something terrifying. They'll be frightened. Remember that real heroes don't just save lives. They save a person's heart, too.
Are you alright? Are you hurt? It was worrying you might hit your head or something. Do you think I can be a hero too?
No. That is powerful. That is very powerful right there. It's kind of like having just the inner child within Deku coming in to console the crying Tenko Shimura as he's just holding on to his dog. Yo, I love this. This is true to Deku's character. Because he saw that young child crying in Shigaraki, his inner child is reaching out, trying to help. Shigaraki killed so many people. He's hurt people near and dear to me, and he's thinking about Bakugo, Gran Torino, Endeavor, and Aizawa. And yet, despite all of that destruction, death, and chaos, he is still trying to save that crying boy in Shigaraki. One for All is a power meant for saving, not killing. All Might taught me that. And he's thinking back to the All Might video he used to watch over and over again on loop as a child. And hearing this, you can see the All Might vestige perk up a bit, hearing Deku say this. And not just me. All Might and all of you who built up this power have given hope to countless people out there.
Look, he's got more! Fear not, citizens. Hope has arrived. Because I am here.
He's the coolest in the universe!
That's why he's the greatest. No matter how much trouble he's in, he's always the winner.
Only you can decide to become a hero, no one else. Take this to heart, kids. You get it.
Damn. Showing that shot of All Might at Kamino Ward, his victory pose with his fist held up high, and just panel shots of all the people that they have affected over the course of possessing One for All, but specifically having the 3 panels of Deku, Bakugo, and Todoroki who looked up and were inspired by All Might to become heroes. Yo, I love this. Whoa, wait a minute. What's going on with the smoke and mist around Deku right here? It looks like it's beginning to disperse. I get that this power was first meant to destroy that evil, but you've all given your lives to link the chain this far, and I think there's another big purpose behind it all. Yo, and you can see the All Might vestige begin to cry, hearing all of this from Deku. Maybe there is no other way besides killing, and I don't know what I'm gonna do when the time comes. But I want to save that little boy. Yo, so we see the mist around Deku disperse and reveal Child Deku pleading to the past users, give me a chance. Allow me to try to save the young Tenko Shimura within Shigaraki. Let me save that crying, scared little boy.
Sometimes the best way to solve your own problems is to help someone else.
It's you. You're the ninth.
Deku is keeping to his ideals and being true to himself right now. Of course, Deku is going to try everything that he can to save young Tenko after seeing it within Shigaraki. But I like the fact that he's not naive to the situation and is not just throwing killing off the table. He's basically saying there might be no other way. I might have to kill Shigaraki when the time comes. But before I get to that decision, at least allow me to try to save the young boy, the young crying boy within Shigaraki. And I love seeing that from Deku. That's what we love about Deku. That's what makes Deku a hero. Wanting to save everybody, even if they might not deserve it. Yo. And it looks like Nana is about to cry right here. You can see her mouth quivering as she is holding back those tears, trying to remain strong after hearing everything that Deku had to say. And then we see the first user sit up straight in his chair and say, good, that's why we have your back. And he proceeds to place his hand on the All Might vestige shoulder as tears are streaming down All Might's face. And then we see the vestige mist return and envelop around Deku. It's fortunate that our power passed to you too. And then the first user gets up, walks over to Nana, and places his hand on her shoulder. Sorry for testing you like that. Gran Torino still lives. So when you wake up, please give him my best. Sorihiko, we made a bad decision. But we've been blessed with wonderful disciples. And there it is. The waterworks begin. Happy tears are streaming down Nana's face right now as she is wiping them away.
No. No. She wasn't ready. She wasn't ready.
It's a mix, though, of happy and sad. She is sad for what has become of her grandson due to her past actions, but she feels happy and blessed knowing that she can place those mistakes and burdens on Deku's shoulders, knowing he is going to try his best to try to correct it and try to save young Tenko. And all Nana can feel is blessed. Yo. But then we see the first user turn his head, and he is speaking to the second and third user right now. Now play nice, you two. You have to cooperate with our successor. He needs your help to unleash his full power.
It's about to go down.
Please tell me these two are going to turn around and talk with Deku in next chapter. I want that to be the case. I want to know who these two are, their identities, their names, and what quirks they have. But it's interesting to note what the first user says, because it makes it sound like they haven't really acknowledged Deku because they don't view him as a proper successor. So the other users didn't punish these two and put them in timeout. These two are in the corner because they themselves don't want to acknowledge Deku, and the first user's like, okay guys, cut the crap, get over here. You guys need to talk with Deku right here, right now. And I hope that is the case. That is the end of this week's chapter. Next chapter hits March 21st.
This power has been passed on from hero to hero, each praying that it will bring joy and peace to humanity. That one for all will give the world hope. And now it is your turn. Do your best.
Yo, I am absolutely loving this one-for-all vestige conversation right here. And I loved where the conversation went, bouncing off of Nana's question on whether or not Deku can kill Tomura Shigaraki. Because for this entire chapter, Nana was basically testing Deku's resolve with that question. And she wanted to make sure that if worst came to worst, if it came down to it, could you actually move forward with killing Tomura Shigaraki, my grandson? And as we saw with Deku, that option isn't really off of the table. Deku isn't naive to the situation and realizing, oh, I can definitely save Tomura Shigaraki. He thinks he can. He wants to try to save young Tenko Shimura within Tomura Shigaraki, but he realizes he probably won't be able to do it. And if he can't, then he will most likely have to kill Shigaraki. But this response from Deku is keeping true to his ideals, and with this decision, we have most of the past users backing him up on it. Now, all we need to do is get the second and third user on board. So hopefully, going into next chapter, these two turn around, they join in on the conversation, and hopefully we finally get the reveal of who these past users are. So with that, guys, that right there is my live reaction to chapter 305 of My Hero Academia. But for now, I definitely want to hear your guys' thoughts on the events of the chapter and what you guys thought about Deku's response to Nana's question and how he still wants to try to save young Tenko within Shigaraki moving forward. And going into next chapter, do you guys think we are finally going to get the reveal of who the second and third users are? Leave your thoughts down in the comments below, and feel free to subscribe to the channel and click that bell icon that you guys can be alerted for every new MHA reaction that pops up on the channel. But if you guys want to talk about other things or talk about MHA outside of YouTube, feel free to also follow me over on Twitter. A link to my Twitter account can also be found in the description down below. That's going to do it from here, guys. So until next week, when we have chapter 306 of My Hero Academia, I'll talk to you guys next time. But remember, go beyond, plus ultra!